Flipping it slightly then. Let's say you're a founder, knowing what you know then, and you're going to hire your first marketeer for a startup then, a B2B tech startup. What sort of skills and attributes would you look for?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give you the very quick playbook for how to hire a marketer if you've never hired one before. Okay, so here's what you have to look for. You need to look for a marketer who has experienced your specific stage of growth. And they've, so for example, if you're like, we've got 0 customers and we need to get to 1,000, you're hiring a marketer who's done literally that. If you are at 1,000 customers and you're trying to get to 10,000, you're going to hire a marketer who's done that, and so on and so on. So first, you're going to need the right stage of marketer. Like this person has achieved a similar level of growth or whatever it is for a similar stage of company. You don't have to have a marketer who knows the vertical perfectly. You don't have to find someone who's like been in the industry. Like let's say I use this example all the time. But let's say like you're a CRM for trucking companies. You don't have to go hire a marketer who's like, lived and breathed trucking. You really just need a marketer who has achieved a similar stage of growth for a similar type of business. So if you are self-serve, you want to hire a marketer who's done self-serve in some kind of way before. What you wouldn't want to necessarily do is you wouldn't want to hire like a super senior enterprise VP of marketing for a super early stage self-serve SaaS that's like B2C. Like those are two diametrically opposed things. Could that person do it? Sure. But you're gambling, I think, at that point. So you want similar stage, you want a similar business type, I'm going to say, or model type. So probably don't hire the like VP of marketing / sales who sold like 50K, annual deals, unless that's what you're doing. Especially like if you're like, self-serve or something. But so those are the top 2 things I would look for. The third thing I would look for is, of course, you're going to look for culture fit. Do you vibe with this marketer? The fourth thing I would look for is, can this marketer explain things to you in a way that you're going to understand? One of the biggest, I think, gaps between founders and marketers, especially if the founder is technical, is that the technical founder needs to be communicated with in a way that they are going to understand. And finding a marketer who can do that super well, don't get me wrong, dime a dozen, but actually, no, is that true? Dime a dozen? I think it's more like it's hard to find, I would say. But that is, I think, going to also be critical because it's going to impact a lot of your working relationship. And also you're going to want to make sure that you actually understand what the marketer is saying, especially if they're using terminology or words or phrases that you're not familiar with, or you're not really sure why it's important. I also think too, depending on the level of seniority and also the level of expertise, the marketer is kind of telling you what to do as opposed to you telling the marketer what to do. So I think it's really a question of how much do you want to manage this person? Or do you really want to bring someone on who's slightly more experienced and you do less managing? That's kind of a question for you to answer, but it's something I ask about all the time. Whenever a founder or a founding team is looking to hire their very first marketer, I'm going to ask the question, who's going to manage this person? Do you want to manage this person? Or do you want them to tell you what to do? Because if they're telling you what to do, they're probably more experienced and a little bit more senior. Not always, but they certainly can be.
Yeah. And it's striking that balance. It's striking that balance, isn't it, between the seniority and somebody being hands-on enough as well. For sure.
And I think the last thing I'll give you for my playbook on hiring is going to be a question of, do you need someone in the more demand gen space, or do you need someone in the more awareness building, brand building space? And this is one of the hardest choices to make because you don't often know as a technical founder. But 9 times out of 10, sometimes 8 times out of 10, we'll recommend a marketer who's coming in with they've got some experience demand gen wise, meaning they are equipped to generate sales ready leads in some kind of way, whether that's using paid acquisition, content marketing, product marketing, like whatever it is. Demand gen marketers, especially ones with SaaS experience, it's not super hard to find, but you certainly, I would say it's more frequent than you'd think, or more common than you think. The brand awareness, kind of like awareness building marketers. These are definitely like you can find tons of marketers in this area. It's very rare though that we make a recommendation of hiring like the more brand awareness kind of building marketer, but only because usually the top KPI is traffic for a brand awareness marketer. For a demand gen marketer, the top KPI is trials and or demos. It's like the people coming in the door, like doing the thing. Usually, most of the time we recommend like the more demand gen marketer. When we recommend the brand awareness marketer, it's usually because they're super VC funded. They've got like real big brand vision, and they almost like they need tons of awareness and tons of like buzz for their go-to-market strategy to work. It's rare that we recommend this person, but when we do, it's usually like really obvious. Like, oh, you need someone to just go and like blow up the PR channels and generate like a ton of traffic for you. That's like top of the funnel or middle of the funnel, and just go ham on that. It's super rare though. Like I said, it's like 1 to 2 times out of 10. Usually it's the demand gen side. That's what most teams tend to need.